Welcome to another episode of the Uspk English Podcast. Thank you for hitting that play button and subscribing to our podcast channel. I'm Katza. In today's episode, we are going to talk about or to give you a few tips to choose the best conversation club. But first, let me say hello to George and Javier. Thank you guys for joining us this week.
Hey there. How you guys doing?
Hello, everybody. Good to see you again. Good to hear you again. And as always, my pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yes. All right, let's get started because I want to really get going on with Conversation Club. Okay, so to start a conversation club, I'd like us to define what is a conversation club. All right.
Yeah.
A conversation club is one of the best ways to improve spoken English. English clubs allow English language learners to practice speaking in an informal, relaxed environment. Very important, relaxed. The intention of conversation clubs is to primarily help participants improve two skills, speaking and listening.
Yeah. Absolutely.
George.
Yeah. It's if referring to conversation clubs and like it says, the primary goal here is to improve your speaking and listening skills. So, I think that, any language school that is really serious about, helping their learners learn English and be able to speak it, they should have a conversation club or at least a way to help their students find the right conversation club. Okay, especially in countries where English is not spoken outside the classroom environment, such as in our case, Mexico. Most, if not all, the language that is practiced is in the classroom environment. So I think like we mentioned it in our previous podcast. Exposure and practice is essential. It's essential and it's imperative for students, and also to like you mentioned, Katza, it's a good opportunity for students to practice English in a more relaxed way, not such an academic setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this enhances the experience for learners.
Yeah. What
Very
about you,
good.
Javier? What about you?
I like to see what it's not.
Okay.
It's
yes,
it's
please.
not a social club. I know people that have their own conversation clubs at a bar at a very popular area here in Guadalajara called Chapultepec. There's groups of people, foreigners, that they get together.
Right.
Normally, the host gets a big plus by getting free drinks or something extra from the bar. And they just have little groups of table where they just chat about everything and anything that comes up. That's casual speaking. But a conversation club has to have some sort of structure. You know what I mean? Like specifically talk about a specific topic that might not be covered in your day-to-day syllabus in the classroom.
Right.
Keep in mind that the classroom is to give instructions, to tell you exactly how to do it, how to go about it, and error correction. Conversation club will have that extra perk of teaching you stuff that is and it's still a teaching kind of setting where
Right.
somebody has to guide it, somebody has to know very well to do it. And it's not also, I have to finish with this, it's not a practice ground for beginning teachers. I know schools that they give conversation class to the new guys because come on, how could they mess it up? How could you mess up conversation, right? No, you are not a guinea pig. If you're a student, okay, and it should be done by someone who's a professional.
Right. Would you say that the best way to carry out a conversation club is if a native speaker runs it?
Not necessarily. It is an advantage, right? But not necessarily. And I was going to get to that point in a little bit further in this podcast when it comes to if is conversation club just for advanced or intermediate, or can beginners start?
Right.
So not necessarily, and it's not. I don't think it's important if it's a native speaker. It is an advantage because the intention of a conversation club is where students, number one, they can first loosen up. Start taking risks in a less supervised environment. And like Javier said, I think it is very, very important that the person who is moderating the conversation club is an expert not only of speaking the language, but being able to give feedback and how to give feedback. So what's going to happen and how to structure it? Because it's not just, okay, let's have a conversation of whatever pops up. It could be done if you're an expert, but then will you know what is the key, the objective? Okay, my objective is for them to be able to speak more fluently. Yes, but you do have to have an aim towards the end, like anything you do. What will they take home? Okay, ideally in this conversation club today, I'd like them to learn how to express these ideas, and not just in a very academic form, but probably a different form. Conversation club is not only about social situations. Conversation club, you can do topics about, even business, giving a presentation, or role playing. So there are different activities that you can do in a conversation club. It's called conversation club, or at least the way we do it in our conversation club is, yes, people are talking about different topics, but there's always a goal. There's always an aim when you're doing a conversation club. And ideally it would be somebody who's got experience in knowing at what point do you give feedback, what kind of feedback would you give, and you obviously have to be an expert in the field.
Right.
Totally.
So in your opinion, George, is conversation club for beginners or not?
I think conversation club could be for any level. But I would separate in two groups, conversation club, club for beginners. And the main goal of conversation club is to enhance their speaking and listening skills. Yes, I would put them in two groups, a group of beginners, and then another group where it's upper intermediate and or even upper intermediate and to advanced.
Right.
Why? Well, because probably, and most likely participants who are in a very low level or beginners, it's a little bit more controlled environment in terms and limited, all right, in terms of vocabulary, phrases, language, speaking skills and listening skills. So the speed and the pace of the conversation is going to go a little bit slower. If you mix them with people who are more advanced, there could be the motivation on both ends. For the ones that are a little bit more advanced, they would say, no, I just don't want to be in this conversation club because I really, the people here, are too slow for me. I need something that is faster, and vice versa. People who are just beginning, they could be intimidated by people or other participants who are a lot better at that in that moment of their conversation.
Right.
So I would separate these two groups, and little by little as these beginners start progressing in their skills, start joining in with the ones who are a little bit more advanced in their speaking and listening skills. Absolutely.
Okay. So, for example, if we divided the learners into beginners or elementary level and intermediate and up, what would the second group, the intermediate and up, would get from a conversation club?
Yeah. Javier, want to jump in here?
Oh, that's very easy to answer. Okay, keep in mind that in lower levels, what you mainly want to work is on their confidence. Yeah. At a lower level, you feel unconfident to try anything at all. Think of it as like, I talk about boxing a lot, but I'm going to try something else today. And being that got since in Mexico City, and people in Mexico City love to dance. I know, I'm from there. To consider it, think of like you're starting out to dance, and you go to a party, you go to a wedding, and you see that the couple next to you is doing some mad dancing salsa steps, and you're working on your 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The important thing is get out there on the floor. You don't want to compare yourself to someone who's way advanced, and more than anything, you don't want to stop dancing. right? Nobody gets better by not dancing. You have to get out there on the floor. Maybe you want to pull up a little bit to the middle of the dance floor where nobody's really watching you a whole lot. So in the lower level, you might have people that are not going to participate a whole lot, but they will get their feet wet. And that's extremely important. Nobody starts out but just by blurting everything they ever learned. Nobody. Yeah. You have to start out with 1, 2, 3, and then cha-cha-cha, you know. Think of it, a conversation is the same way. Advanced students or people that are higher in a much higher level, then they get to have a little bit of a different topic, or they'll get to have a plus. For example, in our conversation classes, we forcibly include, really try to include phrasal verbs. We're extremely hard to master. Anybody that thinks otherwise, please let me know what's your secret, because I haven't found a secret to making phrasal verb easier in any way.
Yeah,
it's something that's and finally, one thing that is being lost out in this generation, but is still considered advanced speaking skill, which is idiomatic expressions. I had a conversation with one of my conversation teachers this morning about, maybe you don't hear expressions like, well, we danced till the cows came home. That's a kind of old idiomatic expressions. But you will hear phrases like, well, you can't go dancing tonight, Katza. Can I take a rain check on that?
Yeah.
That is still an idiomatic expression.
It is. Mm-hmm.
But it's more like an idiomatic phrase, if you may. So those are still strongly and used a whole lot. So students need to catch up on that.
Yes, I get students who repeatedly say to me, like, do they really use this?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Because they just want to get out of it, like they want to escape. It's not, there's no way out.
No. The hard part here is, I always tell my students, you might not want to use it, but you will hear it. And you're going to be pretty embarrassed that
if you don't understand it.
I heard that before, but I don't know what it means.
Exactly. All right. So I'm sure that everyone here, everyone who's listening, they're going to be so thankful if we gave them some tips on how to choose the best conversation club for you. Even if you need to compare or just need to look at really what is your conversation club, should you have one, giving you the best, George, can you give the audience some pointers of how to pick the best club?
Absolutely, and even more recently, when all of a sudden, many so-called, schools started, sprouting out and having conversation clubs, and we have had students that come to our school and tell us about their experiences, and they're very skeptical about. So how do you teach your conversation club? I'm not too sure I want to join you, because they come from, and I'm not saying all. I'm sure there are pretty decent conversation clubs out there, but the ones at least that we heard about, there are some, terrible stories out there where, they say they told me it was a conversation club, but they threw me in a group with around 50 people in there, and it was just some guy talking. And I really didn't have time to talk to any, or practice English. Right. And that's it. Or they just threw me in there and I was watching the video, and that was it. So I think, if you're looking for a really good conversation club, there are some, things that you do have to look out for and pay attention to. Number one is, is it an actual conversation club, like Javier said? Or is it just a social club? It makes a big difference.
It does. Okay? I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. It's a social club or a conversation club. Different objectives here. Different purposes. And I don't have anything. I have nothing against it. People might want to have a social club. That's okay. But today we're talking about conversation club to improve your level of English, your skills, speaking and listening. Or is it just a lecture? All right. Number two, I think are the people in charge or the moderators experts that is in the language, and can they actually give feedback, and they know how to give feedback to people? That's also very important. And how to conduct the conversation club is not, okay, guys, let's just talk about whatever comes first, and let's see what happens. There are moments. There are different moments and stages in a conversation club. Okay, so that's very important. It has to be something that is really professional.
Right.
The size, size does matter. It does. Okay, size does matter. How many
Yeah.
participants are there?
Yeah.
In this case, smaller is better, actually.
Yeah. In this case,
Hey,
I
I'm
think
talking about conversation.
anywhere between 2 and 10, that would be an ideal number of people in the conversation club.
Right.
If you're asked to join a conversation club and then you see like 20 or 30 people in there, I don't know. You better watch out.
Get out.
You got to be careful. We limit our number to 10 people because I know that's the ideal number in how we can conduct the class, in grouping them, in giving them feedback, and for them to actually have time to practice.
Right.
All right.
I think we can summarize it, George, with the old expression called "more bang for your buck."
Yeah.
Are you how much student talking time are you getting versus teacher talking time? How much is the teacher talking versus you talking? And I'm sorry to interrupt you, by the way. A lot of times the teacher, like you said, will give a lecture, will talk a lot, or we'll do like a one-on-one, like I speak and then Katja will speak and then I speak and then George will speak, And if you do the math, it's very easy. That means I'm speaking 50% or 75% of the time. Right. What you want to do is you speak a lot more than the teacher does. If there's some kind of mechanism, whether it be face-to-face or online, that they can actually separate people into working with each other, so thereby creating more conversation within and practice within themselves, then that would be a good conversation club.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Also, Javier, what is the person conducting the conversation club likable? Does the person like people? I've seen some places where the person who is conducting the conversation club, you really see that he or she isn't enjoying it. It's like more like you have to do conversation club and go for it. And that makes a big difference. The people or in this case mostly teacher who is conducting the conversation club or the moderator
I
has to be very likable.
Totally, we have to agree with you. This is, like you said, this is not a social club, but the person that's there has to have that kind of enthusiasm that will make it an enjoyable conversation club, which is very different, okay? Because you have places like Toastmasters where everybody just has to speak very well, very, very nicely, But I would find that boring. I've never actually tried. I'm going to try one of those things one of those days. But I've seen conversation clubs where they're just having fun. And the more fun you have, the more your brain will seem to accept new learning aspects. Yeah. So it does. The person that's hosting is extremely important. I mean, I'm not talking about a game show host, but someone that's very likable. More than anything, someone that's transmitting the main goal of the conversation club.
Right.
That wants to reach an end.
Now that I know this was not on the rundown, but this came to my attention right now. You said about the workshop being likable and enjoyable. And this got me thinking, how long should a session of Conversation Club should be?
Oh, I think it should be no shorter than an hour, 60 minutes.
I think so too.
60 minutes,
I mean, anything
50
between
minutes.
50, 60 minutes, 90 minutes.
At max.
Maximum 90 minutes, because after 2 hours, it could be tiring.
The thing about it is that you got a topic. You guys, think of it like you want a topic. How long could you talk about it without getting bored? I mean, I could talk about something for 1 hour.
Or too repetitive, right?
How far can we exhaust the topic? Let's talk about football. Okay, but there's lots of stuff we can talk about.
Yeah.
But I think after 1 hour talking about football, learning all the terminology, all the new stuff that you should learn new stuff. By the way, it's not only just reinforcing what you already know. You should be able to learn new stuff in the conversation topic. Yes. And once you exhaust all of that, okay, we should move on to something else.
Yeah.
And I think an hour is just about right. Maybe an hour and 15.
Ideally an hour.
All right. So, well, of course, you guys know because you created it and you run it.
We run it. You run it too.
We run the conversation club for our school because we wanted to give our students and whoever wants to join We want to give you all of this that we're talking about. So, George, can you please repeat or tell us when,
Yeah.
how long, how,
Yeah,
what to
we
do
we,
to
we have a
join?
conversation club, and then we do we make a big effort for this to happen. It's and the teachers who are listening to this will agree with me. We do have a weekly meeting. We talk about the topics. We have a review on the vocabulary, how this is going to happen. So it's something that is very well prepared. It's not just on the fly. So, and then this conversation club takes place right now. The way we have it structured now is twice a week. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. All right. And if you're interested in joining, just, give us a call, send us a message, and we'll have you as a guest. We'll have you as a guest one time. You can visit, and I'm sure you'll enjoy. And it's a very good learning experience for everybody.
Yes.
I totally agree with you, and I totally love when a person stands by their product. When somebody says like, "You'll try it, you'll like it," can I get a free sample? By all means, yeah, by all means. That means that it's gonna be pretty good. Otherwise, they'll be like, "No, you gotta pay me first."
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. We're not going to tell you, hey, sign here first and
First,
pay me,
and then pay me
we'll
first,
see if
and
you
then we'll
like
talk
it.
about it. We'll give you store credit. No,
Yeah,
no, I don't want. I want none of
Sign
that.
here, cancel anytime.
Yeah, and since cancel anytime, yeah, like right away.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there, and I don't mind the competition at all. I think it's great that we all have diverse ways of approaching the benefits of our students in terms of language teaching.
course.
But make up your own mind. I think most people, when you try something new and you say, "Yeah, this is what I'm looking for,"
Right.
look for it. Our conversation club could be the best for you, could not be the best for you, but you should make up your own mind.
Yes.
Don't just listen to us.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Any advice you'd like us or our audience to take from this episode?
Well, if you decide to visit our conversation club or any conversation club, well, they're basics. Take notes. Take notes of where you're learning. And do remember that going once to a conversation club is not going to make it happen. All right. So it's something that has to be repetitive. You have to do it many, many, many times so you can start seeing a difference. Okay. So it just comes down to this: practice, practice, and practice. Makes progress. So that's what it is. It's about being consistent, being there.
Right. Javier?
Same here. Just like George said, it's being constant. But this is one thing that back in my times, when I was just a youngster, not too long ago.
Okay.
I remember somebody saying that. How could it be that you can you can't go to the gym for half an hour, but you can dance 4 hours in a row, and that's no problem. Why? Because dancing is fun. People pay to go dancing.
Yeah.
Did you know that? You can dance 4 hours straight and just have a drink over by your table and just go back to dancing all night long. So pick something that you enjoy. English is it's really, really easy in my opinion, in my belief. If you have the right person to guide you, walk you through it. If it's something that's fun, you'll keep doing it, and if you keep doing it, you will get better. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
It's all about persistence and consistency.
Absolutely. Totally agreed. Well, guys, this is it for today. You want to say goodbye to our audience?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me here again, and always a pleasure to share a little bit of what I know, and hope to see you here next week.
Yes.
All right.
Same here. We've been in it a long time. I think we got a lot of insight, and we love sharing our insights with you.
Yes. Okay.
Katza, thank you so much, Katza.
No, thank you guys for joining
Javier.
Thank you, Katza, again.
Okay, everyone, this is it for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. If you like this podcast, please share it with all your friends. And you can also
Oh,
visit
sorry.
our website.
Right here, right here. Can you see my finger? Oh, there you go.
It's here, right here.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay, this is it for today. Thank you to all of our audience out there. Remember to subscribe to our channel. If you like this podcast, please share it with all our friends. Sorry, your friends. You can also visit our website where you will find articles related to English practice and learning. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.